Now, a BBC investigation has heard from Ukrainian prisoners of war who say they were subjected to torture, including frequent beatings and electric shocks while being held in Russia. A dozen former captives described extreme violence and ill treatment, apparent violations of international humanitarian law. Many of them surrendered in the city of Mariupol last year. They were taken to a detention facility in the southern Russian city of Taganrog before being released in those exchanges. For weeks, our correspondent Hugo Bachega tracked down some of those Ukrainians who were held to hear their stories.
Sheer hell. The scariest part was when they called you up for interrogation.
How can you describe a place where you are stripped of everything human?
These Ukrainians were captured by the enemy.
They can do anything they want with you physically.
And taken to this Russian prison in Taganrog, a place they now associate with torture. In May last year, the city of Mariupol was under siege. Artem, a sniper with the Azov regiment, wanted to keep on fighting, but Ukraine ordered the troops in the Azov-style steelworks to surrender.
When I heard about captivity for the first time, I had the worst images in my head about what could happen.
Artem was held in Taganrog for 7 months. He says he was frequently beaten and given electric shocks. He often witnessed other captives suffering too.
After the beatings one day, I was brought to a room.
I saw a young man holding his hands up. His fingers were bleeding.
Did they insert needles under your fingernails? I asked. He said yes.
For weeks, I tracked down Ukrainians who had been taken to Taganrog and came back. People like Irina, who is now a conscript officer in the military. She was a combat medic when she surrendered. She says not even the women were spared the brutality of the guards.
They dragged us by our hair. They beat us in the kidneys, in the ribs, with hammers and batons.
How do you describe Taganrog?
Only devils live and work there.
This is Denis, a military surgeon. He tells me people were beaten as soon as they arrived, in rooms, hallways, and even in the shower. He was left with 3 broken ribs and could barely breathe.
They threw me on the floor, ordered me to not lift my head up, and gave me electric shocks until they discharged the entire taser battery on me. You are convulsing. If you lift your head off the floor, they start beating you, and the circle never ends.
Up to 10,000 Ukrainian prisoners of war are believed to remain in Russian captivity, including hundreds of the Azov-style defenders. Many are being held in prisons across the country, a violation of the rules of war. Here, campaigns like this one are fighting for their freedom and for Russia to protect their rights.
Ukraine says 9 in every 10 prisoners who've been returned allege they were tortured.
This is the biggest challenge for me now, how to protect our people on Russian side. And I don't know how, and nobody knows how we can do it.
The Russian Defense Ministry hasn't replied to our requests for comment. But prisoner swaps like this one give hope to families still waiting to see their loved ones again.
How do you recover from all of this?
I'm currently undergoing treatment, and my priority is to take care of my health so I can put on my uniform, pick up my weapons, and defend my country.
The battles in this war continue, not only on the front lines, but also in the lives of Ukrainians trying to overcome so much cruelty. Hugo Bachega, BBC News, Kiev.